Welcome to Wide Night Gaming. Taking another look at For the King. I'm doing the For the King campaign. There's always that brief description in the beginning. I'm playing this online with randoms, and I chose to do this one for the review because it shows what the majority of the campaigns are like with the overmap, hexagonal map, and then you get a taste of the multiplayer. This fared better than other games. Usually you're playing for a little bit and then someone drops it, then boom, you're out. The exception would be the Hildebrand Cellar, which I would be doing a video on just to show you the difference there. But with this one, I'm the third character. You see in the bottom right, I am the minstrel with the aqua banner. But how it works is you start, there's a mild amount of story telling you where to go, and the character, whoever starts first, hosts the game typically. He starts on the left, and then my order is third. But here we have the first battle. You start in the town, and depending on the radius of your other characters, then they join the battle as well. We're all there, so we all join, but he takes them out in one shot. And with this too, there's a turn order depending on your character's attributes, their speed. And then after, you collect gold, equipment, and you're able to share this amongst all characters too. It's fairly complicated, especially for consoles, but those aspects, even though going through the menu is a bit cumbersome, it does work. Here's the second character, and he is the herbalist. He's able to pick up herbs to heal. But you see the red, how far they can go, the level of the characters that they fight. And the yellow is their potential travel radius. And this is something different too. All characters have a different amount of hexagonal spots that they can go to. It's usually time consuming like this as well, whether you're playing with people you know or playing with random people. And this is, part of the issue with playing with random people is they're going to quit. That's the problem, even if you do have the patience. But he's going for the Sanctum. How these work is you can activate one time, and you can have one activated per character. And it gives you a special benefit, like you can move more spaces or you collect more gold. And then the added benefit, the main one really, is if you die in combat, you're instantly revived. This becomes an issue later if you have to be revived versus the character playing. I'm next here, and you see the number there. That's how many spaces I have left on the grid. I'm fighting this guy. See on the left there's only two of us because the radius is closer, but it's just one guy, so I'm choosing to fight him. And then his speed's a little bit faster. But these are choices that you make. Sometimes you're going to go into combat with just two people and even one person, just yourself. The benefit is you can cover more ground. You can explore more. The negative is you can die more easily, of course. So you're kind of balancing those two. So like with two people, you're kind of around in the radius. And there's benefits with this, with the characters too. If you have an archer, they have a wider radius that they're going to engage in combat, even like when another player is fighting. There's another Sanctum you see there on the left. But he's activated that first one. That's why there's a green check here. So here's the second set of turns. And he's fighting. And again, I'm close in proximity, so I engage in combat. You want to be in as many as possible because this will build up your experience points and then also the equipment that you get. I mean, even already after the first set of turns, we got some equipment that we're able to use. This is done well with deciding whether to use an item or not, a weapon or even equipment. There's different benefits, and even though there is objectively better equipment as the game goes on, the cheaper equipment has some benefits that it's good to hang on to, and these all align with the various attributes. Some weapons are better than others. Here the story mission is continuing on. The next point that we have to get to here. So this goes on at the same time as you're going through random events. You go to towns, you can unlock quests, and then it tells you what item that you get. The dice roll you see in the top there was a red X. That means I didn't get the move. It's that D&D, like I was talking about in the review, dice roll where you may get something or not. This is also with combat in the form of accuracy, where you will get an attack or not. I'm trying to get that sanctum there. There's a clear separation of each land. You see the purple on the left, the brown, and then the tan. Here you got all the rolls. Besides having different types of enemies, you'll see later when you enter a cave or another territory, your group will join you as long as they're all in the same land. So you need to have that first before going into a cave. Different modifications on enemies. You saw the Beastman, this is the Warlock version. Two types of damage while I'm talking about it. The physical and the magic that you have with different characters. And so besides, it's not just you have the blacksmith where he has more physical strength. He's going to be more useless if you have like a frost staff or the musical instruments. And there's things like with accuracy as well, like how much damage they'll do, the type of armor you have. Here's the nice day, +2 movement. Again, randomized always. And we're finding like a few of those sanctums early on. It's randomized where you start. You could start, you'll start in the same type of world, but the location of your objectives will not be on the same hexagonal piece every time. It can be like a north, south, east, west. And this is especially true for like the later areas that you explore. They can be in any direction. It's more the distance from where you are is the same. Just where they are could be anywhere. Lots of random events. Here is a merchant that you passed across. Also trading. This requires you to be close enough to the character that's moving their turn for them to give you everything. This is one of the things I don't like on consoles, how it's implemented, but since it is so complicated, you can give things like money, equipment, and everything else. It was probably harder for them to streamline. Obviously, if you're on like Steam, PC, using a mouse and keyboard, you're not going to have this issue, but with consoles, you're painstakingly using your thumbstick going up, going down, and then trading. But it is there. It's better that it is there than it's being streamlined. So it's kind of one of those things you get used to. You have the option, and you don't use it all the time either. You're not always giving equipment, because if you know they're not going to want it, you could just sell it, or you could pass it and then they sell it too. You don't get much money for anything in this game. Here I am at the town, and here I have the shop. There's just such a variety of different things, and you want to have something that matches your character, but you can break out of that too. You're not limited to the equipment. You can have something like with more armor rather than like evasion. If you're a hunter, to evade and attack. And same thing with like the blacksmith. Instead of all armor, that's where he's oriented. You could just do evasion and kind of mix it up a little bit there to get something that fits. The tribute statues just give you experience points. And sometimes there's a benefit to this because you can get a powerful weapon and no one else can use it, but you're not using it to the max extent, but it's still worth equipping. There's the first Scourge location. These are, again, like with many other things, random throughout each of the areas that you explore. The Scourge, how it works is it activates something. For instance, it might cast a Fog of War. That's one of them. Another one is you can have a turn skipped. You can have like a death mark, all different kind of things. And you have the same people in the same type of locations, and then you get their equipment is the same. So sometimes there's added benefit. Like, for example, in the Frost adventure, the volcano wizard, that's the name I'm going to give him, he had anti-ice abilities, and most of the enemies are ice related, so having that as an ability really helps you. But it depends. You can get somebody else, and like where it's faster movement speed, that can be helpful too, like for everything, and for certain characters, like the hunter, if you want him to get more turns in, per round, or you can, like, but again, like with you don't have to limit it to the class. You can use it for the blacksmith, so he gets there that turn a little bit sooner because his speed is slower. It depends on what you want to use, and the equipment is random in terms of what you'll get. Like you'll get the same type of thing. Like if it's a goblin, you could possibly get a goblin bow or a goblin staff. If it's like the shaman, the warlock, things like that. If they have the musket, you could possibly get that. So you see exactly how long it takes. I mean, we're a few turns in, and you get a lot done early on, but as the game progresses, it takes quite a bit more time. Stuff gets spread out much farther. Eventually, you're going into a boat, and then you have a hot air balloon. In other campaigns, now there was an unlucky roll. I already just had 2 out of 5 there. I got the nice day, so it's +2. And there's a lot of possibility. That's part of the reason it takes so long, because like you can move in any direction. You have what we have with the overmap. You're fiddling with equipment. If you're going to a town, you're doing those kind of things, and you can extend your movement too by using focus. See on the above my character, those little lit up circles, and then there's a maximum if one is empty. I can apply one of those, and I get 1 extra hexagon movement. I can go to the next one. So it can take considerable amount of time, and the more players you have, it's compounded because it just takes one of those 3 to quit. So one approach is just to play with one person that controls 2 people. And you can also do that too. You don't have to be the host. You can select twice, and then you can have 2 people playing. One thing I wish you could have the local player play, because there's no limitation. You just need someone else to sign in, and it's turn-based, so you don't have issues with online multiplayer. It's just one character after another. So the only option is to pass the controller if you did play with someone and you wanted to play online. But it would be more stable that way because you have just the 2 people with like a 50% chance of someone quitting. And this is also disconnecting too. If you get disconnected, like the same thing happens. There you see all 3 of us there. So the bigger, when you're fighting like a group, like here's 3, you want to have that party of 3 with you fighting. It does scale down though. Like if you have 2, you'll be fighting a max groups of 2, and then with 1, you can do that as well. But you want to play this with, at least 2 people, 3 ideally, getting the mix of equipment. And, part of the enjoyment is when you get equipment, seeing how the character changes aesthetically. It changes quite a bit. That's why if you look at the beginning of some of the videos I have on this, it's the hat, the shoes, and everything. And that's the benefit of having more basic graphics, is they're able to implement that, put that in, and it runs well too as a result. That's not ever an issue. Unless your connection's bad, it disconnects. But they did a good job having this at least work online. I think like just those couple of things, if they could put that in. And here I got the staff, and I'm choosing to use it. There's little variants. I have the minstrel, but there's also the scholar. He's magic focused, whereas the minstrel has his instrument, and then like he still does decent high damage. You can see this with the attributes too. Like this is the part to dig into that takes time just by playing the game repeatedly. You're not going to understand like awareness, talent, how they're related to. Like talent's related to like your accuracy and using firearms, for instance. That's part of the reason I like to use the minstrel, because you get like a blunderbuss. You can shoot them all at once. Here's the first story related thing. You add your focus to complete objectives successfully, and then you get a benefit of like reducing chaos. You see in the top there, once that little skull gets all the way to the left, then the enemies get harder, and it affects all these different things like your inflation at the markets. The Scourge guide shows the face of which one is coming up, and that can be luck oriented, but at least when that does show up, then like you'll see where they are on the map. Back to the herbalist. You don't have all the characters right away. Now here it's one-on-one. He's deciding whether to fight or not. You get them, like you can unlock them by beating a campaign or playing for a while, and then you get the points. There isn't the micro transaction, but you do get you collect points over time where you can unlock things like aesthetics. You could have like a weaving basket on your back if you wanted that, just to change the character. And this will change because if you get equipment, then that'll go away. There's one where it's the beer hat, and then or the mead hat. That's right. But you get a hat, and then that goes away. So here he's fighting one guy. So a little bit of risk, but he'll get all the experience and points, but from just the one guy. This also applies to enemies, their accuracy. And a lot of the stuff you can guess. Like if it's a big, bulky guy, you can guess that his accuracy isn't going to be as good, but he's going to have a heavier attack, heavier armor, that sort of thing. And the armor is separated into magic and physical. Physical is when it's blue. You see in the top there, it's 2 armor, so you just subtract your attack from however much armor. But if you're doing a magic attack, then it doesn't apply. He just takes the attack straight through. And then vice versa if it's magic armor. And you see like the purple, that pops up, that shows that it's a magic attack. So it is deceptively complicated, but you can play it simply. That works well. It's good to have it that way than the inverse, of course. And I think that's why this game works so well is you can just do like a few things, but as you get better at it, like you understand what the sanctums do, you understand the weapons that you pick, which are going to be the most suitable for your character, and items you use even to like replenish your focus if you're a magic guy or you have a high attack. It's good to save for that, or you can save it for like movement speed if you want to get around. Your character's good at that. My guy is pretty good at that here. Now here's the example where I hit that first cave, and all the caves have level. Your characters have level as they level up. And then I start with the focus, and then on the left there it's Sanctum. There's a heart. That's for extra health. The haste means you can move farther. And then mine's the focus. That's why I have more focus on the top of my guy there. So all those different things too, like the items, the equipment, you'll learn how to use them best by just playing the game and then playing different characters. And this one isn't bad. I played it first by myself, like a few times at least, and then I played online, then kind of went back to single player. This teaches you like how each of the characters work. But online, a very good community, really. It's like they share everything a little too much, even like a small amount, but you have to be. It is a team game, and you have to be aware of where to. Like you can pass equipment at the end of a round, or you can manually give it, and going through the interface. But that part all works well. So it matches that playing with friends thing where they're going to stick around, because even if the game does drop, if someone is the host, the game is saved. So you're able to, boom, jump right back in. And then you have the same character, equipment, same spot that you left off. And otherwise your option is you're hosting it and then you get dropped and then you go back to that same game, but it's different people kind of joining. But it is quite a bit faster playing it single player as you're going boom, boom, like moving to each location without having to stop, because you know what you want to do and they're all kind of focused there. So, yeah, I mean, in that way it's good to learn. But even with this dropping, I still kind of enjoy it because it's interesting to see what people do with each character, because some try different approaches, buying equipment or buying items to heal. Now this is level 1. See the bottom there, that blue bar shows how close I am to leveling up to the next level. The herbalist and the other guy are already level 1. I'm not yet. When you do jump up, you heal a little bit. So you're planning that with healing. You don't want to necessarily heal if the next battle, you're going to go up in health anyway. And again, you can guess each character. It's not too tricky. Like there I have the cut purse. What does he do? Steel. And he's going to be a little bit faster, have a physical attack. The frost skeleton guy in the middle, he's going to have magic armor. He's got one there, and he's going to have a magic attack. So he's going to do better against a character that has physical armor, because it will cut right through. And the cut purse is going to have more evasion, so he's able to dodge attacks. Blocked and blocked. The blacksmith, this guy isn't the blacksmith, but he has the steadfast ability. You have those two with each character. They have, except for the hobo, the benefit of him is all his attributes are a little bit higher overall. But all the characters have certain passive abilities too, like the minstrel, my guy. He has encourage, where it randomly can give an extra dice roll. That is good. And then here's justice for the woodcutter, where he attacks everybody with a high attack. That's different from steadfast, where it's more defensive, more of the tank character. Or the woodcutter is the offensive. Here's the gold. Now you see how it was mixed, because they shared it. Again, everybody plays nice with the equipment and everything. It's very much a cooperative game. And then as you go through, like you have each of your turns where you can pass to the next character. Here, two bone guys. One final thing too, the equipment that you wear, your armor, they have different benefits as well. You see with the woodcutter, the guy on the far left, he has resistance against snow frost, which means if he takes like a frozen, is a negative, like poison's another one, where they're immune to that. So there's plenty of randomization and complexity. And then the difficulty too. There's the apprentice, which is the one that I played most of these on, but there's also hard and master. That can make it harder. So if you're with a group and you get through most of them, then you can always up the difficulty too. Here, the slime you're seeing here, and we got lucky. He got justice again. So you don't get them every time, like even every other. It can be like 1 in 3 or less, I find, with those passive benefits. Here I'm adding a focus. There I'm guaranteed 1 slot. And the more you get, the more damage that does. Like there he got all 4, so he got me. Pretty hard there. And you're deciding which characters that you'll take out, because you see that turn order in the top there that shows you who's next. So you want to take out kind of the next guy, but it depends. Like the type of damage you do might be better, higher against a character that is farther down the turn order. I mean, there's also things too. You can slow them down, or you can heal the group, and you can use one item and then attack. That's why he had that attack up right before he attacked, which for a couple turns gives him an attack boost. You see the weighting in the bottom middle. He's deciding his turn. He got some equipment, and then deciding to heal or what to do. I'll talk about this in Hildebrand Cellar too, but you have the shopkeeper, at least on one floor, where you're able to buy equipment before going to the next area, and you can see what's coming up next based on the square that I'm in. It's kind of like Darkest Dungeon, where it would show you where you're at in the building and the direction you're going, and then, or if you had already been to a spot, kind of what's coming up next. Often there's like a question mark. So here I'm shopping, similar to the towns. And the prices are much higher, usually, in this spot. 2 of them, I was talking about the Goblin Bow. Rusty Knife is another one that you can equip. that is faster, even though it's lower damage. Along with that, with a smaller weapon, you have the buckler or the shield you can have with your left hand. That gives you an added benefit versus like having an axe or a broadsword that gives you higher damage, but you don't have that little benefit. Just to add a little more complexity, like it needed it. But certain items you're able to do that. And it's not limited to just swords, like a blunderbuss, you can have it. A musket, you can't. And this is why the Hildebrandt works well, because the action is immediate. You're always with your party, and your turn is always coming up where you're doing something. And it doesn't take as long either. It's just wave-based, so to speak, where you will die eventually. Other than that, it pretty much wraps up how the game works. And most of the game modes, you're going to be doing it over a map. You're going to go from one location to the next, and then you'll have combat in between. And then the combat where it's one after another is these dungeons or caves that you can decide to go into that will have one thing after another. And all the systems, it's well thought out. I don't really have, any gripes. It was just going through the interface was a bit cumbersome with a controller, and then the multiplayer, the limitation there. Here we are with the next turn, but that is basically it. Like it works well with what it is intended to be, like as a D&D tabletop, that kind of thing. It definitely is, and there's no like the glitches, anything like that. I had a crash, and that could also be the disconnect thing, but that was pretty much it. This is kind of what you're going to experience with randoms, and then it's going to be more stable. It's still going to take a long time if you are playing with people you know. It's going to be one of those games that is much more of a time suck, and then that turn-based combat. But the overall experience, it succeeds in that you have the different equipment you're engaged in, changing your weapons, deciding what to do. Like, subscribe if you really liked the video, and I'll see you next time.